Jeannie, please don't be upset with me. You have your health. Be thankful. Oh.
This video, we're looking at the FiNi ISFP with the energy and information animals of sleep, consume, blast, and play. If you take all these parts together, you come up with something that's called an identity-based introverted intuitive that is powered, energized by information. So that is a mouthful, but on the objective personality spectrum, that is what the FiNi ISFP is. They have the ISFP functions, but they jump the SE for the NI. So if this is you, you are the most introverted of the 128 types. I'm not going to the 512 with the masculine and feminine sexuals and modalities, but on the 128 spectrum, you are the most introverted. So let's see what this type is all about. The FiNe is a jumper type, meaning that they jump their second function of extroverted sensing, and they prefer to use introverted intuition, which makes them a double introvert on their functions. And on their animals, they are self over tribe, and they are order over chaos, which both of those two are introverted. So they are really what you would call, where I'm calling, a quadruple introvert. They're introverted in their judging function, they're introverted in their observing function, they're introverted in their energy, and they're introverted in their information animal. And so quadruply introverted. So the questions they're going to ask themselves as they move about life is, the first is, as they come across a concept, whatever an idea is, a concept, a way of doing things, they're going to ask themselves, do I value this? Because everything comes through the paradigm and the web of what they value, what they appreciate, what they like. So they're going to ask themselves, do I value this? Do I like this? Do I appreciate this? And if they do, they're going to ask the question, or they're going to say, I'm going to then bring this into the real world, into reality, and then I can make it work for people. But I have to like this concept, then I can bring it into realities. This is how they're going to be thinking and making decisions. And when it comes to energy and information, which is really how we establish how someone is extroverted or introverted, because all of the cognitive functions are equal. Each person has 2 introverted and 2 extroverted functions. But this is energy and information. These animals really decide whether someone is introvert or an extrovert on the spectrum. And so depending on what type that is, this can be the deciding factor. And so sleep is introverted animal, consume is introverted animal, and then there's blast, and then there's play last, which they hardly ever use. So they are an introvert, not only in their functions, but also in their energy and information animals. So they're sleep over play, and then they're consume over blast. So what they're saying is that they will preserve energy, physical energy, doing things, going places, going out, having fun. They will preserve it at any cost. They will exert energy when they decide to exert energy. When it comes to information, they have to process it first. They have to consume it first. And once they've thoroughly processed and consumed that information, then they can explain it, then they can talk about it. So if you ask one of these types who they're voting for or why they're voting for, let's say, a presidential candidate, unless they've really thought about it and really consumed it and can tell you the reasons, they're going to have a hard time explaining it. They're not just going to be able to rattle off things. They have to really know it to explain it. And if they have any leftover energy, maybe they'll have fun, maybe they'll talk nonsense, maybe they'll do things, but that is whatever is left over. Now let's take a look at Matthew Broderick, who is this type, and pay attention to how he has a hard time explaining, because not only does he have blast third, he also has a hard time explaining, because he's an NF, what this movie is about, and he has very low playful energy in doing so.
Me too. Let's talk about the movie To Dust.
To Dust,
is
yes.
the film. Can you explain it? How do we explain it?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. It's a story. It's a rabbi whose wife dies. It sounds very grim, but it's not grim.
Yeah.
And he's very upset about it and miserable about it, and concerned about what's happening to her body, actually. So he finds a science teacher to try to help him understand the physical world because he only sees things spiritually.
Yeah.
How are you doing with that story? But it's really good. It's funny somehow, even though it's about that.
I know, it is. Yeah.
And yeah, and I really liked the movie.
Yeah.
So the FiNi's strengths is that they're very good at understanding concepts. They also know what they believe. They are not going to struggle with identity issues. They're going to know who they are. And they will not normally have a chaotic lifestyle. They're more controlled. And they will actually think through things. I don't have this listed, but they will think through things with their sleep consume functions. And they won't make rash decisions or rash statements either. Things will be thought through, generally speaking. Weaknesses, they're going to struggle with making concepts, turning concepts into reality, seeing how it fits in the world. They're not going to naturally consider others' opinions or others' actions or what they're doing. And they're not going to have a lot of energy to burn. They're not going to have a lot of excess energy to wear off. And so once they hit their energy limit, or if they haven't budgeted their energy limit for the day, they're going to burn out pretty quick. And a frustrating part, I would say, of the sleep consume is that they can take a long time to get moving about doing something and a long time to change direction. So if you have one of these people working for you, or if you are one of these people that are working somewhere, and you're going to need a deadline, because if not, it's going to take them forever to kind of get through this process and to get it done, because they want to get it done right, or they want to get it done how they wanted to get it done. And you're going to have to give them a deadline because it's going to be hard for them to finally come to a completion of something they're really thinking through. Let's look at the path to growth for this type. First of all, one of the things you need to do is allow a certain amount of chaos to enter your life more. Don't schedule something. Have a day where you don't schedule things, a day where you're not necessarily doing what you want to do, and just see what happens. Just see what comes into that day, because if you don't schedule chaos, chaos will find you. Another thing you can do is, before making decisions, ask one or two people their opinion. It might be something that you don't think they have a legitimate opinion of, but it's something that you might care about, and it might be something that you think your mind's made up about. But get some feedback from the tribe. See, hey, what do you think about this? Now, you don't have to do what they say, but get another perspective into your life. Another thing is, give yourself time limits for making decisions. Give yourself deadlines for getting things done. And then make some decisions without researching enough. You might not feel comfortable, but just trust what you've done and make decisions based on what you've done. And then finally, ask someone in your life what they'd like to do one day. And whatever day that is, whatever time they pick, do it with them. Go anywhere, do anything. Just kind of put your own needs aside and just go anywhere and do anything that they want to do. Make it all about them. And these are just 4 areas where, if you're seeking to grow, you can strengthen those functions and those energy and information animals you don't use a lot. And it can really accelerate your growth as a person and as a leader.
You know, as long as I've known him, everything works for him. There's nothing he can't handle. I can't handle anything. School, parents, the future. Ferris can do anything.